Good morning.
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
Samaram
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
Yamam
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
Paryantam
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
Guru Param
ॐ सहना भवतु
Sahanavavatu
सहनौ भुनक्तु
Sahanau
सह
Bhunaktu
वीर्यम्
Sahaviryam
कर्वावहै
Karavahai
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
Tejasvinavadhitamस्तु ma
विद्विषावहै
Vidvishavahay
ॐ
Om
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्तिः
Shanti
हरि ओम्.
Hari Om.
So we had completed the 21st mantra of Kaivalya Upanishad. We will continue with the 22nd mantra. Please unmute yourself. वेदैर्न कैरहमेव वेद्यः
वेदैरनेकैरहमेव वेद्यः
वेदैरनेकैर्हमेव वेद्यः
वेदैरनेकैरहमेव वेद्यः
वेदैरनेकैरहमेव
वेदैरनेकैरहमेव
वेद्यः
वेद्यः
वेदान्तकृद् वेदान्तकृद् वेदविदेव चाहम्
वेदान्तकृद्वेव विदेव चाहम्
वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेवचाहम्
वेदान्तकृद् वेदविदेव चाहम्
वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेह
वेदान्तकृत् वेदैविदेह
चाहम्
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 न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशः
न
न
पुण्यपापे
पुण्यपापे मम
मम
नास्ति
नास्ति
नाशः
नाशः
न जन्मदेहेन्द्रियबुद्धिरस्ति
न
न
जन्मदेहेन्द्रियबुद्धिरस्ति
जन्मदेहेन्द्रियबुद्धिरस्ति
न भूमिरापो न च वह्निरस्ति
न
न
भूमिरापो
न
न च
भूमिरापो न च
वह्निरस्ति
वह्निरस्ति
न चानिलो मे अस्ति न चाम्बरं च
न
न
चानिलो
चानिलो
मे
मे
अस्ति न
अस्ति
चाम्बरं
न
च
चाम्बरं च
चाम्बरं च
So the word is one he. While the ha is written first and the na is written second, in pronunciation the na has to be taken first and the ha follows. So Vandirasti. Anyway, another very beautiful verse. So the idea that I am everything, Sarvatma, is again mentioned here. Now remember that when we talk about the universe, we can classify the universe as Pramata, Prameyam, and Pramanam, the observer, the observed, and the tool for the observation. This is called Triputi, of course. This is the Triputi. But this belongs to the transactional reality, the Vyavaharika Satyam. It does not belong to Paramarthika Satyam. And so he says, Aneka Vedaihi Aham Eva Vedyaha. Aham Eva Vedyaha. I am the one to be known. So, Prameyam, the object to be known. I am the one to be known is through the Prameyam. I am the Pramayam which can be known through the Pramanam. And what is the Pramanam? Aneka Vedahi, all the Vedas. And who is the knower? Vedavid Aham. So, Ahameva Vedya. I am the Pramayam. How is the Pramayam known? Through the Veda, which is the Pramanam. And who is the knower? Vedavid Aham. I am the knower also. And not only that, Vedakrit api ahameva. I am the author of the Vedas. So as Ishvara, I am the author of the Vedas. As the Jivatma, I am the student of the Vedas. As Brahman, I am the very content of the Vedas. Taking on the role of the teacher, I am the teacher of the Vedas. So what am I? I am the author, the teacher, the student, and not only that, I am the content itself. Right? So what am I? I am everything. Sarvatma Bhavaha. Now, remember here, he says Vedakrit. So the Pramanam is not being taken as Veda itself, is not being taken as the Shastra. It is being taken as the teacher, the Vedakrit, the Acharya. Why is this so? Because Shastram can become a Pramanam only when it is handled correctly by the Shrotriya Brahmanishta Acharya. So if I read the Shastram by myself, I will get an incorrect idea of what Shastram conveys. So I am the Pramanam also. Vedanta Krit is the Acharya. And who is the first Acharya? First Acharya is the Lord Himself. All this is from the viewpoint of Vyavaharika, right? Because everything here is Vyavaharika. Manam, Pramayam, even Ishvara is Vyavaharika. All this is from the viewpoint of the transactional world, the Vyavaharika Satyam. But from Paramarthika Satyam, my own real nature, what am I? Na punya pape mamaha. Punyam and papam does not belong to me. Nashaha. There is no death belonging to me because there is no birth itself. What about Punarjanma? When there is no birth itself, why is there no birth? Because Punyam and Papam is not there. Where is no birth, then how can we talk about Punarjan? Janmanasti. Then where is the question of Punarjan? So this Brahman, I cannot negate Brahman because the entire Vyavaharika Prapancha is a dependent entity. It is Mithya. And Mithya means the substratum, the Adhishthanam is necessary. The Vyavaharika has to borrow existence from the Adhishthanam, which is Brahman. Therefore, Brahman has to be there to lend existence. Right. So, for example, if you take the dream as an example, the entire dream is possible because the waker gives it existence. But remember, the waker is never there in the dream. The waker lends existence to the dream, but the waker himself is not present in the dream. And if you say, no, 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 I was there in the dream, I will still say that the waker is not there in the dream. It is not the Jagrat Avastha you who was there in the dream. It is the dreamer, the Swapna Avastha you who was there in the dream. Therefore, I lend existence to the dream world, but I am not one of the entities in the dream world. I am the Adharam, Swapna Adharam, Swapna Papancha Adharam, the substratum of the dream world. Similarly, Brahman lends existence to the dream. So it's worthwhile remembering that as Brahman, the entire universe, including time and space, are located in me. This understanding has to be constantly, uh, revised by us. That everything is in me alone. It's very difficult to accept that the whole universe is in me, but that is a crux of Vedanta. The universe is basically nothing but name and form. Who's my name and form? Because there will be many times in our lives when the problems of this transactional world, of Vyavaharika problems, they are so huge, people dying, dear ones not well, illnesses, money problems, they are overwhelming. But as long as you remember that all this is taking place in me, that they are all part of the Mithya universe of which I am the substrate, then only can the impact of the problems become less for you. For you means for you as Atma. Only the Mithyatattvam of the universe can reduce the impact of problems which seem to have no solutions. Where there are solutions, when there are choices in this universe, we can solve them. Right? You use the intellect, use the money, use connections, you can solve them. But there are problems which have no solutions, choiceless problems. Old age, disease, separation, death. These you cannot sort out through intellect or money. They have only one remedy. Intellectually seeing the mithyatvam of these events. Old age is mithya because the body is mithya. Disease is mithya because the body is mithya. Separation is mithya because both partners are mithya. Death is mithya because only the body dies. And this mithyatvam can be seen not as long as you think you are a jiva. You have to upgrade to a new version of yourself, version number 2, which is Brahman. And that is why Nidhi Dhyasanam is required. You may have the jnanam, but in the face of innumerable problems in the universe, it's difficult to invoke the jnanam constantly. And that is why regularly Nidhi Dhyasanam is required. And the correct time to practice Nidhi Dhyasanam is not when you are facing the problems. When the prarabdha is favorable, when you are comfortable, that is the time to do Nidhi Dhyasanam because the mind is not disturbed. And regular Nidhi Dhyasanam, once it becomes entrenched in our subconscious, when problems arise, you will find that the Nidhi Dhyasanam helps you. Right? This is like going for a walk every day in the morning, right? When you are healthy. When you do that throughout your life, when problems come later in life, all that walking helps you to keep your body healthy. And therefore, for this purpose, we have to chant Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I do not have Punya Papam, right? Janma, Deha, Indriya, Buddhi, all these, they are not there at all. Astina Nashaha, they are not there at all. I have no birth, no body, no sense organs, nothing. Again, all this is the viewpoint of the Vyashti level, the micro level. Then in the same, the third line, the teacher goes to the Samashti level. Bhumi cha apaha, earth and water, and Varni, fire. Na asti, they don't belong to me. Anilacha, nor does the air itself belong to me. Ambaram cha, space also does not belong to me. When you say all this, you are saying the body doesn't belong to me, the mind doesn't belong to me, the intellect doesn't belong to me, the fire, the five elements don't belong to me, the space itself does not belong to me. What belongs to me? Nothing belongs to me. Because all these are mithya only. They all belong to the lower level of reality. Vyavaharika Satyam. From the point of view of Paramarthika Satyam, my point of view, as an OC, I acknowledge the existence of mithya. But that mithya is not separate from the point of view of the RC, the mind, the Vyavaharika Satyam. All these are very, very tangible. Just like the dream tiger which is chasing you in the dream world is very substantial from the dream, from you, the dreamer's point of view. But it is not there from the waker's point of view, the higher standpoint. Jagrata Avastha is a higher reality than Swapna Avastha. So from the higher reality, the lower reality is negated. Similarly, from the Paramarthika Satyam, which is the higher reality, all the problems belonging to the lower reality, the Vyavaharika Satyam, can be negated. So we have seen that the method of teaching was what? Adhyaropa Apavada, right? Which we saw from verse number, I think, 15 onwards. Okay. Now let's take an example. What is this method? Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. Right? Nyaya means the prakriya, the methodology. So Apavada and Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is superimposition. Apavada is negation. So the teaching methodology consists of superimposition and negation. So let us say that I am having a clay pot as an example, and I am trying to tell the student that the clay is not, the pot is nothing but clay, right? So there are four stages of this teaching. First, I say there is a product, a karyam called the pot. Right? Pot is the padartha, the product. So I present the pot as the product. And since the pot is a karyam, the product, in the second stage I say because the pot is a karyam, there obviously has got to be a karanam for the pot. Right? And therefore, while presenting the pot, I tell the student, look at this pot, it is a product. And it has got a cause, the karanam. What is that karanam? That karanam is clay. Right? So presenting the product as karyam and presenting the clay as karanam, these two stages put together is the superimposition stage, the adhyaropa stage. Now I come to the third stage. I tell them that if the clay, which is presented as the karanam, is the material cause of the pot, then when you inquire into the pot, you will find that there is only clay. There is no substance called the pot. The substance is clay alone. What is the proof? I will tell the student that you remove the clay from the pot and then tell me what is left. Nothing is there. When the clay goes, the pot is gone. Therefore, there is no substance called the pot. And if there is no substance called the pot, the word pot has been reduced to a mere concept. And for this word, there is no uh, connection with any substance. While for the word clay, you have the substance clay. But for the word pot, there is no corresponding substance. Vastu is not there. For the clay, there is a vastu. But for the word pot, there is no vastu. And therefore, I have negated the pot as a substance with the understanding that the vastu is clay. Now comes another step. The pot as a substance has been negated. The clay is there as a substance. So there is only one substance. And because there is only one substance, there can be no karya karana sambandha, cause effect relationship. Because for a relationship, for a sambandha, two entities are required. But here there is only one substance, and that is clay. Therefore, there is no product. Right? Having said that, I go one step further. If the karyam is negated, if the karyam is negated, where is the question of karanam? The words karanam and karyam can only exist as long as a sambandha is there, as long as relationship is there. Because when there is no product, you cannot say there is a cause. Right? So this is the negation of the karanam status of the clay. Because pot is not there, the karanam status of the clay is gone. We should see the progress. You introduce pot as a karyam. Then you say clay is karanam. Then you negate pot as a substance. Then you say there is only clay as a substance. Because the pot substance is gone, the productness, karyatvam is gone. There is no karyam at all. If there is no karyam at all, you cannot rightfully give the name Karanam to clay because there is no Karyam. And therefore the Karanatvam of clay is gone. The status of clay as a cause, Karanatvam, is gone. Therefore, what is left behind now is a clay, which is neither a Karanam nor a Karyam. So, Karya, Karana, Vilakshana, clay. Right? So, what is the vision now? There was clay alone in the past. There is clay in the present, and there will be clay in the future. Right? The whole thing begins on a concept, a word called pots. And then we see with this analysis that we have been caught up in the drama of words only. So the third and fourth stage together is called apavada. The first two stages are adhyaropa. The second stage, third and fourth stages are apavada, negation. Now let's apply that principle to the universe. What did we do in stage one? We introduce the product. So here, Upanishad introduces the universe, Jagat, as Karyam. Having introduced Jagat as Karyam, the second stage, Shruti says, since there is a Karyam Jagat, there must be a Karanam for it, and that Karanam is Brahman. So this is Karana Srishti Prakriya, also called Adhyaropa Prakriya. So Adhyaropa is over. Introducing Jagat, introducing Brahman as the Karanam. Now, if Brahman is the Karanam, this is stage 3, then world is only product. And since Brahman is Karanam, that Karanam must be pervading the world. So there can be no Karyam other than Brahman. There is no world other than Brahman. Just like there is no necklace other than gold. So there is no Vastu called the world. There is no substance called the world. And whenever I think I am touching the world, you are actually touching Brahman alone. This is stage 3, where I have negated the world as a product. There is no Vastu called the world. Since there is no Vastu called the world, and the world is the product, the Karyam, Brahman loses the status as the Karana. Therefore, world is not Karyam, Brahman is not Karanam. Brahman is what? Karya, Karana, Vilakshana, Brahman. And then comes the final stage. When you have understood this, you have to take one more step. You have to say, don't look for Brahman. Brahman is you yourself. With these, with this 22nd mantra, the teaching is over. Right? Now, here comes the Phalashruti. What is the fruit of the knowledge? So we look at mantra number 20. We will chat. Please unmute yourself. एवं विदित्वा परमात्मरूपम्
एवं
वा परमात्मरूपम्
परमात्मरूपम्
गुहाशयं निष्कलम् अद्वितीयम्
गुहाशयं
गुहाशयं निष्कलम् अद्वितीयम्
समस्तसाक्षिं सद् असद्विहीनम्
समस्तसाक्षिं
साक्षिं सद्
सदसद्विहीनम्
असद्विहीनम्
प्रयाति शुद्धं परमात्मरूपम्
प्रयाति
शुद्धं
शुद्धं
परमात्मरूपम्
परमात्मरूपम्
सो एवं परमात्मा रूपम viditva. In this manner, evam, in this manner. In this manner what? Which manner? By the using the adhyaropa apavada method, Paramatma Rupam Viditva, having understood the nature of Paramatma. being absorbed in this knowledge. And how did one understand? Shravanam, Maranam, and Nididhyasanam. One has understood the nature of Paramatma. And what is that nature? Guhashayam. Guha Ashayam. Guha is the cave of the mind, cave of the heart. So, which is basically the mind. Because heart is the Golakam for the mind. So, Guhashayam, residing in the mind. So, that Brahman is there in the minds of everybody. Not as a thought, but in the form of the very witness consciousness. Witnessing the presence of thought, witnessing also the absence of thought. So, Guhashayam, present there in every mind. Nishkalam, indivisible. Even though Brahman is present in every mind, there are no multiple Brahmans. Nishkalam, there is only one. Advitiyam, non-dual, reinforcing the idea that the indivisible one can be only one. Samasta Saksham, witness of everything. Sad, Asad, Vihinam, without cause or effect. So here it means Karana, Karya, Vilakshanam. Sad is Karanam, Asad is Karyam, contextually. So Sad, Asad, Vihinam. Karana, Karya, Vilakshanam. So Maya is Karanam, Prapancha is Karyam. Therefore, I am beyond the Maya and the Prapancha. I am beyond Sat and Asat. And Shuddham, I am free from Maya and the Prapancha. Vyakta Maya and Vyakta Maya, I am free from both because they are Mithya only. Therefore, I am Shuddham. That which is of a lower level of reality than me cannot touch me, cannot contaminate me. Therefore, Shuddham, I am pure. And Prayati, in this manner, having understood in this discriminatory manner, Paramatma Rupam, the nature of Paramatma, Prayati, one attains. I understand, attain here is figurative. I understand that I am Paramatma, not Jivatma. And by knowing Paramatma, I know that the nature of Paramatma is not different from my nature, Jivatma's nature. This is Paramatma, Jivatma, Aikyam, the figurative merger. And therefore, as I said in Mundaka Upanishad, Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who understands Brahman becomes Brahman. We should very carefully note there is no question of a merger at all. Merger is required when there is separation. But Paramatma, Jivatma has never been separate. Where is the question of merger? So becoming Paramatma is nothing but dropping the notion that I am Jivatma. This is called Jivan Mukti. When you are living, when the body is alive, and when the body is dead, it's called Videha Mukti. This is the thalam of the understanding. Now we look at mantra number 24. Yashatrudriyamadite
Priyamajite
Yashatrudriyamadite
Shatarudriyammadhite
Sogniputo bhavati
Sogniputo
Bhavati
bhavati
Surapanat puto bhavati
Surapanat
Surapanat
puto
Bhuto
bhavati
Bhavati
Brahmahatyat puto bhavati
Brahma hatyat puto
ब्रह्महत्यायाश्च
bhavati
कुतो भवति
Krityakrityat puto bhavati
Kritya krityat puto
Bhavati
bhavati
Tasma vimuktamasrito bhavati
तस्माद्
Tasmat mukto
विमुक्तमाश्रितो
mashrito
माश्रितो
bhavati
भवति
Atyashrami sarvada sakrata japet
Atyasami
अत्याश्रमी
sarvada
सर्वदा
कृत्वा
सकृत्वा
जपेत्
जपेत्
So, a bit of a glorification. Sahayaha, the one, Adhite, who recites Shat Radriyam, Sri Rudram, the one who recites Sri Rudram, Agniputo Bhavati. he becomes purified through Agni, by the sacred fire. Which sacred fire is this? Sacred fire of knowledge. So Agni Puto Bhavati, the person who recites and understands Sri Rudram, he becomes purified by the sacred fire. And what is the advantage of that? Remember, all this is Arthavada, glorification only. So you are not being, recommended that you do all these things. Surapanat Putaha Bhavati. Surapana means drinking liquor. So becoming Puta Bhavati, he becomes free of the sin of drinking liquor. Brahma Hatyat Putaha Bhavati. Even if he kills a Brahmin, not Brahman, Brahmin, if he kills a Brahmin, he is free from that sin. Kritya Akrityat Putaha Bhavati. He becomes free of all sins of omission and commission. Tasmat. And thereafter, after having recited the Rudram, Ashrito Bhavati Avimuktam. He comes under the shelter of Avimuktaha. Who is Avimuktaha?
Lord Shiva.
Or Shiva. Avimukteshwar, if you must have heard.
Mm.
Right? So he comes under
Varanasi.
the Varanasi, under the shelter of Lord Shiva, and Atyashrami. He becomes a sannyasi. Right? Because of this, he becomes sannyasi. And what should he do? Sarvada Japet. He should recite the Sri Rudram daily, all the time, Sarvada, or at least Sakrit, at least once a day. So with this previous mantra, the Upanishad teaching is over, right? Now, supposing there are students who have not understood, the level of Chitta Shuddhi is not there, and therefore, while they have sat for the class, they have not been able to assimilate the teaching. That is because Jagan Mithya is always the most difficult part to accept. Brahma Satyam is easy, but Brahma Satyam becomes a reality only when Jagan Mithya is accepted, right? And Jagan Mithya, because Jagat is the one which gives you all sort of problems, it is difficult to accept. Thus, if the teaching has not been grasped, it is not due to any defect in the teaching, but to obstruction in the mind of the student. So, Duritam Papam it is called, obstruction. And why do we say the defect can never be in the teaching? Because we know that teaching has blessed so many people. So, what should such a student do? You have to go back to Karma Kanda. When Jnana Kanda does not work, don't reject Jnana Kanda. I'm sure for all of you it's not true. It's just a teaching, right? For all of you, Jnana Kanda has worked. But if for anybody Jnana Kanda has not worked, don't reject Jnana Kanda. It just means that you have to go back and work on Karma Kanda for Chitta Shuddhi. Right. So here Brahma Yajna, Veda Yajna, all this is there. Recitation of the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, all recommended. But here the teacher is taking up not Veda or Gita as Parayanam. He is taking up the Sri Rudram as the Parayanam. Right? And this is the Dhyana part. The Lord Shiva is the Ishta Devata. And Rudram glorifies Lord Shiva as Vishwarupa Ishvara. Of course, this is the mantra. It doesn't mean you have to chant only Sri Rudram. You can do any Parayanam, Gita Parayanam, Veda Parayanam, Sahasranama Parayanam. Everything gives Chitta Shuddhi. And therefore he says Rudram Atiyate. The Parayanam of Sri Rudram, or for that matter, any other scripture, is part of Karma Yoga and Upasana to purify the mind. And the daily Parayanam will bless the person. Of course, if you understand the words, it is better. But mechanical Parayanam is better than no Parayanam. Right? And for the one who does this Parayanam, Papam is defeated. So Agniputo Bhavati. He is purified by the sacred fire. So that's why in our lives, we begin the day by lighting a lamp. Because that is a fundamental deity for us, Agni Devata. And if you noticed, traditionally, you are not supposed to blow out the flame. In the Agni, Many people do it. But traditionally, you will find that you just cup the flame with your hands or put a cup on top of it. You are not supposed to blow out the flame because flame is sacred and there is saliva in your mouth. And when you blow it out, it will be insult to Agni Devata. So you can actually use a strong breeze or a fan or something like that to put out the fire. And Surapanat Putahava. The scriptures prohibit you from drinking liquor. Therefore, drinking liquor, eating meat, they produce papa. And you need to perform prayashchittam to counter the papa. So here teacher is saying that the parayana of Rudra, Sri Rudra Parayanam is an effective prayashchittam. Then Brahma Hatya. Brahma Hatya means killing a Brahmin. A Brahmin is a person who is a follower of the Vedas, and it is considered to be one of the five great sins, Pancha Mahapapam. And even this gets neutralized by chanting of Rudra Parayana. Then Krita Akritaha. So Krita means Krita Akaranam, not doing the prescribed duties. Akrita Karanam, doing what should not be done. So omission and commission, right? Commission of that which is prohibited, omission of that which is prescribed. There is Pratyavaya Papam, but Rudra Parayana frees you from both. So what is Papam? Papam is Adrishtaha. It's an invisible obstacle which will ensure that the knowledge you get from the teacher will not fructify. So for spiritual progress, one has to neutralize the actions of those, the effects of those papams. And that is why Rudra Parayana. Such a person comes under the shelter of Lord Shiva. So Kashi Lord Shiva is called Avimukteshwaraha. What does Vimuktaha mean? Anybody? In Avimukteshwaraha, what is Vimuktaha? Vimukta literally means one who is free from rules and regulations. In the context of Lord Shiva as Avimukteshwaraha, look at the words. Avimukteshwaraha, the Lord Ishvara of Avimuktas. So Ishvara of those entities which are free from rules and regulations. And these actually means animals. Where animals are not subject to rules and regulations. Right? They are driven by prarabdha only. Right? Vimukta is animals. Avimukta is one who is not an animal. So the controller of Pashu is one who is not a Pashu, right? Pashupati. Therefore, Avimukteshwara means the person who is other than the Vimuktaha, the Lord of the animals also, right? Lord Shiva. Therefore, that those who have been there, Kashi Vishwanath temple is also called Avimukteshwara Kshetra, the place where Lord Shiva resides. And then Atyashrami Sarvada Saklam Japi. Atyashrami is a sannyasi. Why? Because he is outside the normal rituals. He cannot do Panchamahayajna, all that. He cannot perform Agnihotra. For him also, Rudra Parayanam is considered to be the correct sadhana. Because remember, he also needs Chitta Shuddhi. And then, since he cannot do Agnihotram and rituals because he has given up all rituals, he is supposed to do Rudra Parayanam. If Rudra Parayanam is being done correctly, you have got Chitta Shuddhi. And literally speaking, what the word mantra says is that you should do it all the time. If you cannot do it all the time, you have other duties, then at least once a day you should do it. And if you do it, then what happens? Then we go to the next mantra, mantra number 25. Anena jnanamapnoti
तेन
अनेन
ज्ञानमाप्नोति
ज्ञानमाप्नोति
sansararnavanashanam.
Samsara Arnavanasanam.
Tasmad evam viditvainam.
तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं
Kaivalyam phalamashnuते.
Kaivalyam
कैवल्यपदमश्नुते
Paramasnute.
Kaivalyam phalamashnuते iti.
Kaivalyam
कैवल्यपदमश्नुत
Paramasnute
इति
iti.
Iti Kaivalyopanishad.
Iti
उपनिषद
Kaivalyopanishade.
So, anena jnanam apnoti. Through that daily Rudra Parayana. So, anena here means by this. By this. By this has to be connected to the previous verse. By this Rudra Parayana, what happens? The same Shruti teaching, Jnana Kanda teaching, which in the beginning looked completely non-understandable, it begins to appeal to me. The path of Jnanam appears to be the logical one, appears to be practical and possible. So I will say once again, Rudra Paranam is only the example taken in the mantra. It can be Vishnu Sahasrana Paranam, Lalita Sahasrana Paranam, any puja, any japa, Bhagavad Gita Paranam, anything. But it has to be done daily. So in effect, anena, through this Parayanam, the mind will get qualified for the pursuit of jnana. You will get chitta shuddhi, right? And there's through karma yoga, you attain chitta shuddhi. In due course, karma yoga means upasana yoga also. In due course, you will be ready for knowledge. And because you are ready for knowledge, the necessary environment will appear. You'll get a teacher. You will come back and listen to the Upanishad. Why back? Because we said that in case you did not understand. So this person who's already listened to the Upanishad, he will go back to Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and come back later when his mind is fit for Jnanam. And then the ideas will become clear. He will understand what the Upanishad is saying. And Samsara Arnava Nashanam. So Arnavam is an ocean. Samsara Arnavam, the ocean of Samsara, Nashanam. Jnanam, this Jnanam will dry up that ocean of Samsara. And tasmat enam evam viditva. Knowing, therefore, tasmat, knowing Brahman, enam, knowing this Brahman, evam, in this manner. In which manner? I alone am Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi. Right? The knowledge that Brahma Asti is different. That is Paroksha Jnana. That means there is Brahman. The knowledge that Brahma Asmi is Aparoksha Jnana. So from Brahma Asti, one has to go to Brahma Asmi, which is Paroksha Jnanam. I am Aparoksha Jnanam. I am Brahman. And once you get there, Kaivalyam Phalamashrote, one will attain Kaivalyam, non-duality. Kaivalya means only non-duality. There is no second. This is Advaitaha. This is Moksha. And having done this, what happens? He is a Jivan Mukta in this life. And when the body dies, he becomes a Vedaha Mukta. Kaivalyam phalam ashnute iti. This statement is repeated to indicate the end of this Upanishad. Who was the teacher?
Prajapati.
Prajapati. Who was the student?
Rishi Ashwalayana.
Ashwalayana Rishi.
Ashwalayana Rishi.
Iti Kaivalya Upanishad. With this, the teaching is over. Very beautiful Upanishad. Very well worthwhile memorizing and keeping for the Nididhyasanam purposes. Almost each of these mantras, you can use one mantra for one session. Okay, so with this, we'll stop for today. With this Upanishad is over. And in the next session, we will start the Upanishad of all Upanishads, Mandukya Upanishad. I will be giving you the text soon enough, and then we'll start the next session. So, any questions? Otherwise, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Acharya ji. Thank you very much.